time.
Oh my God, they're doing it.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that's Jessica Nobles also, or do you think that was a different voice?
It sounded like Jessica to myself.
Jessica or yourself?
No, it sounded like Jessica to myself.
Okay. Did you hear someone say, "Get up, asshole"?
No, I just heard a bunch of people talking.
Make out any voices in particular?
No.
Did you hear somebody say, "Get up," then?
I did.
Whose voice is that?
It sounded like Roger.
Still sound like Roger saying, "Get up, get up."
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is all that Roger?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
I mean, all
but
the
I'm-
male voices with the
I believe so, but I'm not positive.
Is it possible any of that was your husband?
It could have been. I do not know for sure.
If somebody's saying, "Get up, Gary," it's probably not Gary saying, "Get up, Gary," so we can eliminate Gary from the list.
Objection,
Um,
speculation. It says what it says.
Fair enough. Skipped it about 31 minutes after the hour. Go about 31 even. Whose voice is that?
Sounds like Jessica, but I'm not positive.
Did you hear what she was saying?
Something about something Gary. I don't mind Gary.
Could it be you're awful quiet here?
Objection, speculation.
Whose voice is it saying, "Stop it, stop"?
Sounds like Jessica.
Were there any aluminum bats at your residence back then in August, early September 2012?
Can you repeat that question?
Any aluminum bats at the residence that you and Mr. Blake lived at?
I know we had a bat at one time. I don't know if it was around that time frame or not.
Okay. Did you ever observe any aluminum bats in the Embry/Peachior residence?
No.
Can you eliminate the possibility? No. Skip that. Skip it about 3645. You hear someone say, "Get a bat."
No, I did not.
Okay, did you hear a male voice at all there?
No, I did not.
Did you hear somebody say, "Get a bat, get Gary," just then?
I heard the male voice. I did not hear what he said.
Did you hear somebody say, "Get a bat then"?
No, I didn't. I heard the noise.
Did you hear
I
someone say,
did
"Get a
that.
bat" that time?
Yes, sir.
You recognize the voice of that person?
Sounded like Roger.
Okay. Now, let's assume, have you ever reviewed these tapes before? Any
No, I haven't.
part of them at all?
Just the actual shooting.
Okay. Okay. Let's assume that the shooting is going to happen in the next minute.
Right.
Okay. Are you inside the house at this point?
Yes.
Is Crystal and your other
Yes.
daughter inside the house?
Yes.
Okay. Who says "pal" there?
I do not know.
Did you hear someone say, "Come on, man"?
Yes, I did.
Whose voice is that?
I do not know.
Recognize any of the voices there?
No, I do not.
You hear someone say "fucking pop"?
I heard pop. I didn't hear fucking pop.
Any idea whose voice that was?
Sounded like Roger.
Had you ever told anyone?
Before you continue, would you let the recording play for another minute or so?
Oh, sure. Any idea what we would call recalls that sound? That after the second shot, sound of metal hitting concrete?
Bullet casing hitting the ground, maybe?
Female voice there. Do you recognize that female voice a moment ago?
I think it was Jessica, but no.
After the injunction hearing on the 29th, did you ever go out in the street and make a gesture like this, with your fingers pointing like a gun going pow, 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 pow?
Yes, it did.
You remember the comments you made associated with that gesture?
That I do not remember.
I'm sorry, say that again?
That I do not remember.
Why in God's name would you do something like that, man?
That I cannot answer.
Do you
Stupidity?
understand that if you make threats that people might take you seriously?
At this point, nobody was taken seriously.
This is all just a big joke to you all?
No, not a joke.
Forgetting for a moment whether it's in fact true or not, were you of the belief that he suffered from PTSD and had suffered a head injury?
Objection. Call it for
Let him
speculation.
finish his
It's not.
question, but don't answer it. Go ahead.
Were you under the impression that he had suffered a head injury and suffered from PTSD? Whether it is in fact true or not, were you of that impression?
Don't answer that. What's the objection?
Relevance for one, speculation two. There's been absolutely no evidence whatsoever brought in this about the defendant suffering from any kind of injuries or PTSD. And we're prepared, if need be, to have an expert come in and address that issue as well as medical.
Well, that's not really the point. The point is whether or not this witness has any basis, admissible basis to answer that question.
I'm just asking what her impression is, not whether she, I'm not asking for her qualifications as an expert. Was she under the impression that that was true, and did that govern her, some of her actions?
Objection sustained.
Understood. Didn't you tell Lehman and Crystal Huntington at your friend's apartment pool that you were leaving them to go home to fuck with the neighbor and do what you can to piss him off?
No, I did not.
Never did that.
No, I did not.
twice after the shooting, tell Detective Kane, Watson, the lady detective, that you all hadn't done anything to antagonize the Woodwards that night, and you all just been having a party and minding your own business.
That I knew of, yes, sir.
Well, you knew of all this stuff, or at least part of the stuff that was going on, and we spent the last 2 hours going through. You admitted earlier that you knew of that stuff going on.
I knew some of it, yes, sir.
So, he basically lied to the detective immediately after the shooting. I thought I got to finish my question, but I'm not allowed to. Let me know.
Hold on. You get to ask the question. Don't answer the question. Let him object. I'll do it. All right, go ahead and ask the question.
Isn't it true that you lied to the detective on 2 different occasions by denying that any of these things had gone on that night?
Objection. No facts and evidence to support that allegation that she's lying.
Did you give a recorded statement to two recorded statements to Detective Kane Watson? One on the night of the shooting and one a few days later.
No, I only gave one the night of the shooting.
Okay. Did you tell her about what had been going on? We all hollered over at the Woodward house that night when you talked to her on the night of the shooting?
I don't believe so.
In fact, you told her nothing like that had gone on, correct?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You're not aware of you having told her that nothing happened? Your answer kind of confused.
Your question's confusing me, sir.
Did you tell her the truth about what y'all had been doing that night, or didn't you?
That night? No,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am. In fact, you all have put out this narrative. You have put out this narrative that y'all were just having a party, minding your own business, not bothering anybody anyhow, and this guy just comes across for no reason. You can figure out and just starts shooting you out of the blue when you hadn't done anything to antagonize him the entire evening. Isn't that correct? That's a narrative you put out into the public eye.
I object to the form of the question suggesting that that's a narrative that's been put out by anybody.
Overruled.
I don't remember. It was almost 3 years ago. I do not remember exactly what I said.
Would listening to the interview you did with the detective assistant refreshing your memory about what you said to her that night?
I'm sure it would.
Judge, at this time I want to raise an objection to the following. She can listen to it, but what she says in there is not evidence that it comes in. She's just refreshing her memory, so it can't be published as evidence. It's not evidence. It's merely to refresh her memory and to see if she remembers.
That's the intent within which it's done, and I think you're smart enough to make that distinction, Judge.
That's true.
I'm sorry. I know you're smart enough to make that distinction. I think I think.
My only question is, inasmuch as the witnesses testified the manner in which he did, what difference does it make if she said something different?
The point I'm ultimately trying to make, Judge, is that well, if you're not done, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I guess I'm done. Go ahead.
Based on what they're telling these people that night, they're telling the police that night, decisions are made about whether to search houses. And they're giving the impression that we didn't do anything.
All right. If there's another reason for it other than impeachment, I guess I would get that. All right. Go ahead. How long is it?
It's 7, I think the first, I believe there are 2. She says there's just 1.
I only remember doing one.
I'll deal with that later, but it's either 7 minutes or 10 minutes. I can't remember which one it is. Not very long.
Okay.
It's close to time for the break. Do you want her to listen to it while you, off the record?
I'm just going to the Law Day luncheon that the local bars have.
Judge,
I don't mind.
I'm going to raise a relevancy issue. If the reason reason they're offering it is to suggest that there's some reason the police didn't search the houses. There's two answers to that. Number one, if there was evidence that their client was aware of it, he talked to the police right away. If there was evidence their client was aware of, he could have imparted that to them, suggesting that they could get a search warrant or search the houses. Instead, what he claimed, what he told the police right off the bat was, everybody's unarmed. So what is the relevance of whether or not the police searched or not? That has no relevance, and whether she said anything about it or not is also irrelevant.
All right, that objection's overruled. So you go ahead, and do we have time between now and 11:30 to play this for her?
It's going to be very close.
It's either 7 or 10 minutes. It's one of the two. I think it's
since you're just refreshing her memory, do I even need to listen to it?
And that was my point. If you wanted to adjourn and she could listen to it outside your
And
presence.
then you can ask her the questions after we come back. All right, let's do that. Then we'll take our recess. I'll be back on the bench by 1:30. And Ms. Blake, if you'll stay, I'm going to leave.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and listen to the recording, and then everybody can break till 1:30, take lunch, and then come back. You'll be on the witness stand when you come back.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
So there's no question she can understand.
All right, then, other than
She can hear fine when you speak.
We're in recess, and I'm leaving.
Just step down and listen to it down there so we don't have that going on.
That's why I asked at the beginning. Yeah. Problem. I changed this to a contract for the short I'm sure this is, I'm sure what they think was a problem. And I apologize for the time I gave it to you. Yeah. Okay, so all of this is 1%, so it would be composite because it would be, okay, it's fine.
She doesn't have to sit there if that's your question. Wherever
Wherever
you.
This is fine for me.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
This is fine for me.
Yes, ma'am. Let me take a stab and get to the volume for some reason.
Carrie, tell me what you remember.
I was in the house, me and my husband, Crystal had called me, it started out, we were all hanging out outside right here.
What, do you remember about what time that was?
Oh, God, probably about 12. I mean, it started early this afternoon, like around 6:30, something like that. We
Yeah.
started up the grill, brought out some hamburgers, all having a good time, nothing was ever brought up.
When you say we all,
It was myself, my husband, Blake, my children, Crystal and Emily, my neighbors, Kim, Gary, Roger, Jessica, a couple of their
so the whole
kids.
neighborhood pretty much kind of just hanging out.
These two houses right here. Just grilling out, having some burgers, listening to some music, having a good time. 10 o'clock, we drove the music down, still kind of hanging out, but not really bothering anybody because we know there's tension.
When you say that there's tension, what do you mean?
Between William Woodward and us.
What was the
There's an
issue?
ongoing battle. He's been down here, he's shown guns, he's shown knives. We went to court for injunctions.
You said it's William Woodward?
T. Woodward, Theodore is his middle name. We went to court the other day for injunctions, they all got denied. He jumped Gary, my neighbor, Gary Hembry, in the parking lot of the courthouse. The sheriff's department arrested him, released him on his own recognizance. He was supposed to go to court tomorrow.
I guess I'm looking for two granddaughters.
They're in my house. They're with me.
They're not, no, they're fine.
They're not grandfathers.
But
No, so-
it's her dad, and I'm
Yeah.
like, tell him I'll be down in just a sec.
Thank you.
I saw him when I pulled up.
Yeah.
So he jumped
I'm
Gary.
sorry, I called him.
Don't apologize, I'm calling you.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
He jumped
William
Gary
Woodward jumped Gary in the courthouse parking
in the
lot?
courthouse parking lot,
Okay.
and they charged him with assault. That was after our injunctions were all denied. I guess
What
he's,
day was that?
the 29th of August, 8:30 in the morning in front of Judge Moxley. He's been coming out and harassing, doing, stupid stuff, standing across the street, hollering stuff to us, and we holler back. I mean, we're not perfect, but, we kind of let it know. We weren't doing anything tonight, but standing outside having a good time. Like I said, around, I don't know, it was probably around midnight, I came in, Tim had come inside, we were hanging inside. He went outside to grab a cigarette or so, I don't even remember what he was going outside for. But as soon as he stepped outside, I heard gunshots. So I opened the door and he looked.
Tim stepped outside?
My husband, Tim, Bruce Blake, I call him Tim,
Okay.
stepped
That's okay, I
outside.
just have to make note of that. So Bruce is Tim.
He stepped outside to grab something, I don't remember what it was, and I heard gunshots. And I opened the door to see what was going on, and I saw him laying there with blood, and I shut the door, locked it, went in the hallway, grabbed the kids, went in the hallway, and called you guys. And stayed on the phone with the detectives the whole time. But while I was on the phone with you guys, I don't know if it was right before you guys picked up, Billy came up on the carport, and I know that's who it was. Billy came up on the carport, and I heard like 6 more gunshots go off, one right after the other. So,
How many total gunshots do you think you heard?
a dozen or more,
Okay, so a lot.
a lot, a whole lot. And I already knew who it was and what was going on.
So is that why you shut and locked the door?
Yep. Because I didn't want to come in my house and shoot me and my kids. Bad enough you got them.
Okay. What I can tell you right now, he's in custody. He's in the back of a police car. He's not going anywhere.
Good.
Not going anywhere anytime soon.
Good.
Okay? So we got him.
Good God.
That's the biggest
Finally,
thing. That's the biggest thing we got him.
this is what we were worried about.
Like I said, I'm going to try to figure out, right now, just get you out of that. Once I get that established, I can tell you that I don't know who got taken to what hospital. One of them got airlifted to Holmes Regional, the other got airlifted to Warren C. So as soon as I know who went where, I'll make sure that you know.
Okay?
Okay? Do you still have my number?
I don't know. You'll have to write it down again. Just in case.
I'm going to give it to you. Okay?
There's somebody not make it.
There's one that didn't make it.
Gary. That's what I was told. Gary.
Who lives in this house directly next door to you?
Gary and Roger.
Gary and Roger?
Mm-hmm.
What do they look like?
Gary's skinny. Roger's really big. You'd know him apart.
Okay, he's skinny. He's skinny. Okay.
So, he's got kids.
And your house is 1940 and that one's 1950? Okay. Okay. Okay, what's your name, Brent?
514 81.
What's your husband's name, Brent?
7/29/63.
He was the one taking the homes.
Okay.
He was the one taking the homes.
Okay.
Okay.
We're saying that in Melbourne?
That's, yeah, Melton and your home bay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll have to drive tonight over to see them.
But, take some time first. Well, no. It's gonna take a while.
I'm going to Dallas first.
Okay, okay.
Is he going straight into surgery?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, they have a trauma team on
He's
standby.
conscious with everything though.
I don't know, because I wasn't here for that. So I don't know. My hope is yes.
But I don't know yet.
But I don't know yet, yeah. And as soon as I can get an update, I will. Now, because this was an act of violence, they're gonna be given trauma names.
Okay.
So as soon as I know what the trauma name is, make sure you have it, because when you go down there, they won't let you anywhere near him without the trauma name.
Okay.
Okay, so as soon
don't bring the kids?
I don't recommend it.
Okay. That's what
I don't,
wasn't gonna
there's
take
not a
it.
whole lot for them to do,
I wasn't gonna take it.
except sit around and freak out, so leave them here with your dad, maybe. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Can you think of anything else? Can you think of anything else I need to ask you, or anything that maybe you think I need to know?
It's been on over. I mean, you guys know, everyone's
There's a lot of
familiar
calls
with
out
that.
here now.
Everyone's familiar with what's going on. It's just sad that it took this to happen, and we all said that too. Nothing's gonna happen until the body's taken out here.
Well, I'm sorry it came to
It's
that.
what sucks.
Here, do me a favor. Can you raise your right hand for me? Sure. You swear everything you told me is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Could you,
Include the affidavit.
I was talking to Gary about that. Hey, another one for you. If it turns out this isn't you, just let me know.
I only remember doing one.
Sherry, can I get your cell phone number?
It's 321-360-8038.
Before we go on, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is there another number I can reach out?
Yeah, 289-3134. That's my father's number.
Okay. Let's go back to the day of the incident. When did you guys start the barbecue?
We probably let the grill about between 6 and 6:30. Somewhere in there. Do hamburgers and chicken or pork or something. I don't know. We threw a bunch of meat on the grill.
Okay.
Just getting back, had the radio going. Not too loud, but you know, where we could hear it in the front yard.
Okay. As the night progressed, did you guys have any problems that night?
No, we never saw anybody, nothing out of the blue. Never said anything to us, we didn't say anything to anyone else.
Just kind of stayed here between the houses?
Yep.
Okay.
Didn't notice, I mean, we were kind of keeping an eye over there to make sure, you know, that nobody was coming out, but we never saw vehicles in the driveway or anything. We saw one car pull up, his parents' car, somebody got out, only one person, and that was it. No movement or nothing like that. We were kind of keeping an eye because of the tension between the houses and whatnot.
Okay. Now, was there anybody outside screaming and yelling or anything like that? Or was it just...
Not that I know of, no. I mean, of course things probably got a little louder every once in a while. We were all, well, not all of us, but a majority of people outside were drinking and kicking back, having a good time, like the day, and then we had the next day off. But no, we didn't get like out of control, screaming, yelling, nothing like that. You know how parties are. Sometimes you get a little above and it's like, okay, shh, everyone keep it down, you know, you gotta remember we're in the neighborhood. So,
Okay. Now, when was your first indication that something was wrong? What was the first thing that got your attention that something wasn't right?
I heard a thud against my door. Went back to work.
What did you do after that?
Well, I opened the door and looked, and my husband was laying in front of the door in a puddle of blood. And then I shut the door and locked it and continued to hear gunshots as I called 911.
Okay.
And proceeded in the hallway to, of course, get my kids and hopefully keep those days.
Which room did you guys go into?
We went into my hallway and closed all the bedroom doors and bathroom doors. And got down on the wall.
Okay. How long do you think you stayed there?
In the hallway, probably half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Like as soon as the incident happened, my dad went on one.
What made you finally come back out? Or did you?
I didn't until you guys came.
Okay.
They kept telling me not to come out. My husband was knocking on the door, yelling, "Gary, help me!" And the dispatcher kept telling me, "Don't open the door, don't open the door."
Okay.
And I didn't, because I thought if I did, I'd be dead too.
Since this has all happened, has anything new come to light or any new information since I spoke to you that night?
Kim and Jessica have kind of filled me in on a little bit more than what I do to begin with, as far as Gary and how he tries to do a shot and stuff. But other than that, no, I can't think of anything new that strikes me off that night. And I have been able to forget. That's just one of those things that you just never forget.
And you're not gonna be able to. This is a life-changing event.
I know.
I mean, it's, yeah, it is.
A lot of emotions.
Have you guys received any threats or anything since this has happened?
No. I've seen a bunch, like I said, on the news and in the paper and stuff, and no. That's why I asked about his father, because I was told that on his security surveillance is where they heard his father say that he was going to finish us off. So that's why I wanted to ask and see, because that's what fears us about staying home, is the fact that we heard that, and we know his dad was a part of it. He was well aware of what was going on between the feud, and
Now, the feud that has been going on, who were the main people that were involved in it? I mean, was it everybody all together in it, or did it seem?
it was basically both houses together.
Okay.
In my eyes, I think it started before the roll of duct tape, around the 30th of July, 31st. Mr. Woodward came into my house. My kids used to go to his house to play all the time. And he came down concerning my daughter, my smallest daughter, and my 6-year-old, and tried to tell me that she was out of control, she was a hellion, he could never get control of her. He was paying my older daughter to watch her when they were at his house, and I just looked at him and said, "Well, Mr. Woodward, if my daughter's such a problem, then maybe she doesn't need to come to your house and play anymore." And he said, "Okay, well, that's fine with me, but what about Crystal?" And I said, "Well, if one daughter's not allowed over there, then I'm not going to let the other one over either. You know, as far as playing with your daughter and stuff, that's fine, but not over here. Right, they can play outside in neutral." And honestly, it's been ever since that night is where I think the problem started.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, it's not, my kids aren't the first kids that he's had a problem with in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's what it is. The fact that once I said no, my kids couldn't go over there anymore. His kids really didn't have anyone to play with, and it brought us closer together because we didn't talk during, before any of this evolved.
Okay.
Really, I mean, it was, "Hey, how you doing?" But we weren't really closer. Right. It wasn't like, "Oh, how's your day going? What have you been doing? How's so and so?" It was just kind of like a, "Hey, you're going to be."
Just like a different neighbor, hey,
right, right.
Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you this. Since everything has happened, what have they told you about your husband's injuries?
They said that there are 4, you want me to explain?
Yeah.
The doctor told me there's 4 entry wounds in his stomach, 6 exit wounds out of his back. He had 4 shots to the left leg and 1 shot in the right leg. None of them hit any major arteries or veins. He's been conscious the whole time he's been in there, so he knows what's going on as far as what they're doing and caring for him and everything like that.
Okay.
He got out of a second surgery last night. They closed his stomach up. He's had a colostomy bag. I'm going to see him here very shortly, actually.
Right. Yeah, because he's got another procedure too, right?
I don't know
they're cleaning his knee out.
Oh, are they?
They told me,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
They wouldn't tell me a whole lot.
Mhm.
I went over there, Matt and I drove over there yesterday to go see him, because we were told that he was alert, so I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Go there, go talk to him, and talk. Right, well, yeah, because he's still intubated, and I guess today they're gonna try to take that out too.
Good,
So,
good. That's awesome.
yes, but obviously I'm highly interested in talking to him as well.
Yes.
So as soon as we can do that, I want to
He
do that.
doesn't, well, I haven't told him about it, and I'm not going to. I don't want to do anything to cripple his recovery.
Has he, now, when you've been there, has he been lucid in the sense that you can talk to him and he can nod at you and, like, he's paying attention to you, or is he just out of it?
Well, when I went in there, they told me he was very heavily sedated. It was after his first surgery. I was there when they loaded him into the room, and he was coming down off of the sedation from the surgery. And I think he heard me because I was telling him, I love you, I'm here for you, I'm supporting you, I'm sorry all this happened,
Right.
And he was moving. Like, he wasn't shaking his head, but he did, like, shake a little bit,
So some indication that he's paying attention, but not enough to lead conversation.
Absolutely.
Gotcha, okay. Okay. What have they told you that they expect as far as his recovery?
It's going to be a very long road to recovery. The first night that I went in, they said that he would probably be in there for at least 3 weeks, if not longer. He will have a colostomy bag for 3 to 6 months at least, unless he heals. Of course, the healing process goes faster. I don't know if he's going to be able to walk yet or not. When he was coming down off of his sedation the other night, he was moving both of his legs and both of his feet. But I don't know if that was, just right. I don't know yet. I'll find out more when we go back out there today, I'm sure.
I can't think of anything else.
It just seems so soon.
Sorry for that.